Greetings, fellow masters. We are back once again. We have one more episode to go. And, man, we're in for a doozy this week. Again, this was more of a setup episode, so we don't have too much hype to talk about. But, obviously, it's going to be the finale next week, so you know it's going to end with a bang. But, yeah. As per usual with these episode reviews, we'll be recapping certain events of the episode, just kind of like giving our overall reactions to big scenes, and then just kind of speculating and just giving our thoughts on stuff we want to highlight throughout the episode. We're not just gonna tell you what happened throughout everything, but just kind of highlight some of the important parts that we wanted to really dive into and talk about. We will be going into full spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, do yourself a favor, watch the episode first, and then come back here and tell us your thoughts about it in the comments down below. But without further ado, where do you want to start, Tony?
Well, let's start with the fact that, let's start with the characters that were, like, the least involved in the story so far at the moment. Let's start with Dumont and Orlando. So basically, Orlando's trying to find where
the Clan Calatin went. Yeah, because they all disappeared after the battle with Alcides and Gil. And also, we found out Johnny Boy isn't dead. We had assumed last week that it was still technically correct. The John that got was a Jack clone.
Jack clone. Yeah.
But so we did get full confirmation that our boy John Wingard is not dead. At least not yet. Jury's still out. Cause that's a reckless guy. Good intentions, but a reckless dude. But yeah, I really like Dumont's characterization here and how he's become very invested in Orlando and his Clan Calatin. How he sees them as principal characters in his current piece, and he wants to craft that story. It's very Shakespeare-esque, which, he even mentioned that he idolized Shakespeare, so it makes a lot of sense that he's, taking a lot of cues from him as well. If there's someone whose blueprint you want to copy, the Bard is not a bad choice.
Yeah, and it's very interesting when you think of their noble phantasm basically working in a very similar fashion. Like I mentioned while we were watching the episode, First Folio works on a more psychological aspect because Shakespeare, especially in the Nasuverse, explores the psychology of the individual affected by First Folio.
It's a lot of character dissection and analysis, which makes sense given a lot of Shakespeare's works, when you really look at them, are a lot of character deconstructions. Like, especially with stuff like King Lear, Macbeth, Othello. Like, a lot of it is, done in a character deconstruction type of method. Which, we actually see a lot in modern stories nowadays, especially in mediums like comic books. You see stuff like Watchmen and, Invincible and different things like that are deconstructions of the superhero genre and deconstructions of specific genres themselves. So it's very interesting that like narrative plays such a big part in Dumas, because Dumas, this version, as we talked about in previous reviews, is more focused on his time as an editor and essentially a ghostwriter. So what he is focused on is reshaping the narrative, editing things to make a story fit how he likes. It shows kind of the meta-ness of the Nasuverse, that like the author is God. And it's Dumas as a writer is exerting his will on reality and reshaping it as he will. And that's what a lot of the casters do, which is why caster is a lot of the times a perfect class for author hero experience. So it's very interesting in that regard. So I guess other stuff we want to talk about. We got to see Enkidu finally interact with Tine, which was interesting.
Yeah. And Tine's trying everything she can to heal Gil.
And I really do like Enkidu being like, well, I'm not here to heal Gil because Gil, I know how Gil is, and Gil lost that fight. He wouldn't want me to just step in and heal him just because. And besides, we've already had our goodbyes. We've had that pain. I don't think he'd want to experience that again. So I'm going to honor his wishes and just going to stand by. But I will help you because you are one of the few people that have actually earned Gil's respect. Because Gil does have a history of killing his prior masters. R.I.P. Tokoyomi. But yeah, so it's interesting that Enkidu and Tine are forming an alliance there, and it looks like basically Tine will take the role of human master for Enkidu for a bit, which I did not expect.
Yeah.
But it makes sense given the the storied friendship between Gil and Enkidu. So yeah, it fits. And then we learned a lot of interesting mechanistic stuff about this Grail War and kind of why there are so many divine spirits present.
Yeah.
And we actually learned how Fila was able to have herself summoned here, despite, being Ishtar.
An aspect of herself is still in the world.
Yep, given as a blessing. So she was able to leave that part of her divinity behind to, basically downgrade herself into an acceptable form to be able to be put into the vessel of the Ainsburn homunculi. So that's really interesting. And then that obviously brings us into a parallel to our the spirit of the hour. The name of this particular episode, the Pale Knight, aka Pale Rider. We've discovered through some cryptic hints that Pale Rider may in fact also be a divine spirit that kind of has downgraded in order to be summoned here, which makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, the four horsemen of the apocalypse represent different aspects of the Old Testament God, Judeo-Christian God, and so death being an aspect of God, of course, death can't be brought into a Holy Grail War. But the thing that's interesting about that is if we apply the same rules that apply to Ishtar, that an active part of the deity is in the world, and so they can just leave that part behind, and that's how they can summon a lesser version of themselves to the Grail War. Death is an active presence throughout the world constantly. So, it probably is easier for Pale Rider, the embodiment of death, to summon itself into this Grail War.
Probably not at its height of power, but still powerful enough to be used as kind of like a phantom heroic spirit. And the one thing that is interesting, because phantom heroic spirits are also composites of heroic spirits themselves.
Yeah, and it makes sense because there are a bunch of different depictions of death throughout a lot of different cultures. Of course, we've got the Pale Rider, the Grim Reaper, different Thanatos, different deities and aspects of death or bringers of death. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pale Rider is a composite of just a lot of those aspects of death mixed together, because death is a universal concept that exists all throughout the universe. So, like, it makes a lot of sense. But man, like, the tragedy of Tsubaki Kuroka is just heartbreaking. I mean, like, this poor girl, she had really no say in the matter. Her parents kind of forced her into these fucked up mage experiments, and she also feels like a failure that she let her parents down. It very much is giving a lot of parallels to, you know, Sakura Mato, aka Sakura Tosaka. And I like that, you know, we have the Shiro, we have the Emiya parallel in Sigma, we have the Shiro parallel in Ayaka, and we have the Sakura parallel in Tsubaki. All we're missing is a Rin. But speaking of Rin did get a mention, which was cool. Apparently Waver just does not want to bring Rin on this case because he doesn't trust her, and he calls her a she-devil. I want to know what did Rin do to make Waver so pissed? I'm very curious.
And since I would find it funny, like, he finds her a she-devil because of what he experienced while
the cousins had
Braille war with her dad.
Yep.
I think that would be hilarious if that were the case.
There's that, and then of course there's the you know, we know that the wrestling match between the cousins of Rin and Luvia does happen at the clock tower, and so he witnessed her fucking monstrous strength. Because people forget that, you know, people always remember Rin for her, you know, Gondir and her gem magecraft, but Rin can throw hands. Kirei taught her kung fu. Like, the girl can throw down.
Yeah, because a particular martial art that Kirei was taught under is the same martial art as...
That Holmes knows, Bartitsu. It's Japanese boxing.
Not Bartitsu, but also the same technique as Li Shuen.
Oh yeah, Li Shuen's assassination. His one strike technique. Yeah. Yeah, she knows a combination of those two, which is what makes her so deadly. Which is why, like, not even just as a Rin stan and you know, hardcore Tosaka fan, I was like, when I saw those Flat versus Rin debates, I was like, nah, Rin's got it easy. Don't get me wrong, Flat is goated. He's an idiot savant and very smart. But, like, just out of sheer skill and versatility, Rin's got it. But yeah, overall, it's a good setup episode. I think it puts all the pieces in motion to kind of deal with the threat that is Pale Rider, and you know, that sets up that final conflict for this season, which I am going to say season. I know it hasn't been confirmed yet, but like, as I'm going to keep saying, we got to be on the optimistic end of things, you guys. This series has been super popular. It's been very well received, and there's enough material out from the light novels that I think we have enough room to adapt for one more season.
Yeah, and plus the war's not even finished yet. So if it's going to be the kind of show that it will be finished when everything in the light novel is finished, that's just how it's going to be.
Exactly. And I mean, look at it this way: if it's far enough for FGO to get their green light to have some Strange Fake stuff, it's pretty far. That means it's pretty far out, because you know, the author was very adamant of, like, I don't want my characters in FGO until, you know, it's either done or close to done.
Yeah, and in Japan, at least a couple years back, they introduced basically what FGO's interpretation of Fletcher the Lionheart is.
And NA got him recently.
Yes, and as someone who can confirm to have Richie himself in his Chaldea, it's a good time.
Yeah.
But it's on its way to being finished. It makes me wonder how the rest of the heroic spirits are going to do against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because we haven't even gotten to the crazier nonsense that Flat can do.
Yep. Yeah, keep your eyes peeled for this last episode, because I think the last episode is definitely going to be the Flat show.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, he has not even begun to pop off yet. You guys saw a little bit in Jack's fight with Alcides, but, like, you have not seen anything yet. So
yeah, not quite yet.
look forward to that. In the words of one great Alexander Hamilton, just you wait. Just you wait. Get excited. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week's episode. We are going to be talking about the finale next week, and as an additional plug, that very same week, we'll be doing a full podcast episode with not only our good friend Brian, one of our other main co-hosts for the podcast, but we will be bringing along our friend Trash Waifu Praetorian, aka Elise Trash for Skinko, fellow VTuber friend of ours, fellow Fate enthusiast. We're definitely excited to have him on, and it's gonna be a fun time. As always, we thank you guys for all your support for these Fate videos. They've done really well, and we appreciate all the engagement, and some thank you to the people who have commented, that have been thank you guys for giving us information from the light novels and stuff. I know that's more of Tony's end of things, but again,
yeah,
we really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I'm very happy that you guys want to know more about all this stuff, because yes, this show is still quite popular. I think out of all the different works in the Nasuverse that is connected to Fate in particular, this is definitely one of the more popular ones, for good reason.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's a lot of the concepts behind this particular Grail War and how it mechanistically works is that a lot of folks who just know of it never really look into the finer details, like the aspect of all of the fake servants are basically catalysts themselves
to summon the real ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because the thing that again, a thing that they don't have in here is America's ley lines aren't as fully developed, because America as a land has kind of been stripped of mystery, especially within modern times. And so, in order to make up for that, they use the fake servant as an extra boost to power the Grail War, because the land isn't as strong.
Yeah. Even though a lot of places in the U.S. are mystically strong, it's just those particular ley lines would not function as properly like in other places like Fuyuki or in Romania. And that part is fascinating if you really think about it.
We could do whole videos just breaking down the inner mechanics and different systems within Grail Wars and stuff, because we are super nerds about that shit. If you guys are interested, definitely let us know. We would consider doing it. We just need the feedback to know you guys are interested. We don't want to make something that nobody wants to watch. So let us know in the comments if you guys are interested to hear us nerd out about the various magic systems that work throughout a Grail War and stuff like that. And of course, there are other resources you can go to for that. Everybody's favorite Goat has been doing a lot of big research into that as well. There are other channels like Otaku Daikun. We gotta also plug fellow members of the Fate community, because it's not just us out here. Yeah,
and also our friends over at the at the Gurus.
Yeah, at the Gacha Gurus. They also cover lore and stuff as well.
And then we have some lesser known up and coming folks that I would actually highly recommend. Is Slobe, this VTuber girl who uses a green screen to basically talk about concepts in the Nasuverse and Fate specifically.
Yep.
She actually did a couple videos because most of her content's shorts. When she does long form content, she does stuff like, would I survive in the Lost Belts? Like, what Lost Belt would I survive the most in as a regular person? Or you have ones that, which servants are the best representatives of each class?
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
And for those, and even if you want to know more about certain characters, even though one of our goats, Saya, is not doing fake content anymore, his old videos are still there. They are great.
Yeah, they're wonderful. They have a nice comedic twist to it. And also, if you want just straight servant lore as well, one of my favorite content creators to go to is Crazy Yuri, who does a lot of servant profile content. They have a Melusine avatar. You may be familiar with them if you're in the Fate community.
Even though for them in particular, Yuri, what they do is basically comparing the actual historical mythological figure to their
Nasuverse counterpart, which is always interesting. Which is why they also get to double dip, because there are like various different versions. Like, of course, comparing Charlemagne, the historical figure, and then Charlemagne, the mythological figure, to both versions of Charlemagne, which was very fun. I like their Charlie series.
Yeah. Oh, and also when it comes to, because think of it like this, folks. The Nasuverse is a great world to kind of play around in, but there are aspects to this world that, granted, it's ran from the perspective of initially one very nerdy Japanese man.
Yep, for his D&D campaign.
And it became this big media company in its own right. And yet the same media company does not understand Rome's importance in the Western world.
Exactly.
Which led to a lot of Roman servants being worse off than they actually would be in the world itself.
Caesar.
Yes.
But yeah, we could go ad nauseum about this. We just wanted to take a little time to plug some of the Fate community, since this is going to be one of our last reviews for a bit until we get the next season. So wanted to shout everybody out there. But yeah, for real this time, we'll catch you guys for the big finale. So get ready for it. Until then, we'll catch you later. Peace.